Hello everybody and welcome to the Tournament 14 obstacle demonstration. I'm your host, Heim Galactic, and today I'm going to be giving you my tips and tricks and how to beat the obstacles in the upcoming Tournament 14 of SASUKE Craft. Just one thing to note, if there is a effect on an obstacle, it will be in the top right corner of your screen, so just make sure you're looking there. Anyways, let's go over the first stage to begin with. Alright, the first stage is 8 obstacles, and you guys will be seeing a third-person perspective and a first-person perspective. It begins with the brand new floating steps. There are 5 angled steps that competitors must jump across, and then jump to a rope to jump onto the sand pit. Now, in my opinion, the best strategy is what you're seeing right now, to run from the top of the stair, and then jump once you feel yourself land on it. The rope will have slow falling, so as long as you can jump, you should be good, because you will hit your head on a barrier block. But yeah, here's the first-person perspective. This obstacle is not too tricky as long as you know what you're doing. And if you go fast enough, you will still have the jump boost for the jump to the rope, which will make it much easier. Just make sure you don't slip off that rope when you're going around. Then it's on to the second obstacle, which is another new one. This one's the rolling boulder. So on this one, you're going to have to ride a boulder down the track. This one, my tip of advice is to, when you press the button, just start jumping. And then when you have the time, look down so you see where the boulder is moving. The one rule is you're not allowed to touch the track on this obstacle. Alright, then it's on to the first returning obstacle, the hop rocket. You got to jump from that bouncer onto the pillar. And the biggest piece of advice I can give to competitors who haven't seen this before is to hold jump on the bouncer, because if you don't, you will fail. Alright, then it's the jumping spider. You got to jump into the spider and then jump across some ledges and the honey panels. Now, there are 2 ways you can do the inside portion. You can do escape as what you just saw, or you can use both panels of honey. The trampoline, there are many different ways you can do it, as we saw in Tournament 13. But in the first-person perspective, here's me doing the technique of using both honey panels. Then it's the half-pipe attack, which is returning from Tournament 6. It's a lot harder now. So this one, you really only get one chance at it. So my tip of advice is to just gotta be fast on this obstacle. You only have the effects around 2 seconds, and if you run out, you will slide off the wall. Then it's the great wall. There are many ways you can do it. You can jump straight at it, you can jump from the side onto the rope, or you could jump backwards. As long as you can make it up onto the rope, just make sure you crouch around so you don't slip off that rope, so you can jump up and press the button. That'll teleport you to the top of the great wall. That's on probably the hardest obstacle of the stage, the fly and shoot. So this one, you cannot jump too early, but you cannot jump too late, or your momentum will be stopped early. You'll kind of feel when it's just right to jump, and when you feel that moment, that's when you're good. Ending off the stage is the lumberjack climb. So this one, what I would do is when you press the button, I would jump, because you get levitation for longer. I don't know why. It's just how it works. You can do it without jumping, but it's highly recommended. And when you're in between the red glass panes, just sprint so you have more time to make it to the top in case you make an error. But yeah, you have 100 seconds to clear instead of 90. Alright, the second stage now, there's 6 obstacles. It's pretty similar to last time. There is one new obstacle though. However, the first obstacle is the same. It's still the octopus tentacles. 2 sets of 4 tentacles with a rope at the end. So this one, it's pretty easy. In my opinion, the one thing I would do is just jump from the bottom ledge of the stairs you just saw. But this one is pretty simple parkour. If you can sprint and jump and aim your camera, then you should be fine. Just make sure you don't jump too early on the transfer between tentacles. You can go fast, as you're seeing right now as well. But yeah, this obstacle is not too tricky. Alright, then it's the crank dive. In this one, you have to be aware of your momentum, or else you could undershoot or overshoot. A lot of people fail this obstacle early in because they're not aware of the momentum. So a big piece of advice is you gotta crouch. The crouch button is your best friend on some of these obstacles, and this is definitely not an exception. This one, if you have your crouch button, you should be good. You don't really need to crouch on the last one, and you can jump if you want, just to be safe. But then it's on to the ladder labyrinth. In this one, make sure your jumps are tight when you're climbing up the vertical ladder, because if they're too wide, then you will not be able to make it up. And then just make sure you're being cautious on the horizontal ladder, because those jumps on the horizontal ladder are a lot smaller than they seem. Yeah, as you can see here, make sure you keep your jumps tight on the vertical ladder. And then you could jump kind of like diagonally as you see, or you could crouch when you're halfway through your jump, and that'll kind of cut your momentum off. But then it's a triple compressor, and it sounds obvious, but you have to get a late jump. In Minecraft, you can jump a lot later than you think, and that's how this obstacle is possible. If you know how to get late jumps in Minecraft, this obstacle should be very easy for you. Alright, then it's on to the new obstacle, the metal spin. There are 2 sets of chains you gotta jump across. And although it may seem like you have to get a late jump, and you do, my biggest piece of advice is to align your jumps, because if you change your alignment mid-air, you're probably going to undershoot those chains. And make sure you're careful on the transfer, because you will have to do a switch. Alright, then it's the tackle, and this one you just got to press the button as fast as you can, but for the jump boost part, make sure you know when you're going to get your effect. It is when you see the first line of red at the end. That is when you get your jump boost. So yeah, just make sure you know that you're getting your jump boost there. There are 70 seconds on the stage instead of 75 seconds, 5-second decrease. Alright, the third stage is pretty similar. There's only one new obstacle, 8 obstacles. It begins with a modified version of the propeller bar. So this one, make sure you are away from the centerpiece here, because if you are not, then you will hit yourself on that centerpiece, and you will not be able to make it to the next bar. The last obstacle, in my opinion, is a bit easier than the first version, so yeah, it should be good. Alright, then it's on to the new obstacle on the stage, the boat ring. So this one is a pure endurance test. So how it works is that minecart, the boat is attached to it, so you have to push the minecart and the boat will move with it. You are not allowed to sit in the boat. You have to be standing on it, as you're seeing right here. So my piece of advice, take your time. There is no time limit for a reason on the third stage. This one is simply here to drain your energy, to waste your time. It is not something that you should be failing. You can fail it, but if you're going to fail an obstacle, I would not want it to be the boat ring. So what I do is I crouch at the end and then jump forwards. And I didn't really do it in this example, but I would definitely look down at the boat, especially on those turns, because they will move faster on the turns. But yeah, if you can do that, then you should be good. This obstacle is not too tricky, but you just cannot underestimate it. Anything is failable. Alright, then it's on to the globe grasp. This obstacle has been very tricky in the reformation era. So this one, the upward section is not too hard, but the downward section, what I would do is I would start sprinting and jump at the exact same time, because then you'll hit your head on that block, and that's what you want to do, because if you don't, you get too late of a jump, and then you fall and undershoot the globe. There is another strategy you can do. I don't think we've seen anyone do it. I might be wrong though. It's where you just simply sprint and no jump, but you have to be a lot more precise and align your sprint, I guess. I would say jump, but it's not really a jump. So you just have to line your sprint perfectly, or else you probably undershoot it, which is why I would recommend just jumping and sprinting at the exact same time. If you can get that tech down, then you should be good to go on this obstacle. Don't let it fool you though. I mean, it's been very difficult in the reformation era. Alright, then it's the crux point of the third stage, the ultra crazy cliffhanger. So this one on the flips, similar to the globe grasp, I would sprint and jump at the exact same time. However, you can do this in a multitude of ways. Another strategy is to sprint and then just cut your sprint off half with your jump to land on the ledge. When you're transferring across the actual ledges themselves, I would make sure that you are holding jump so you don't slip off. This obstacle is one of the harder ones on the stage, obviously it's the cliffhanger. Oh, and one more thing. On the moving ledge, the third ledge, you can slip off of that. So what I would do is when you land on it, I would immediately turn to face the way of the captain's wheel, which is the obstacle after it, and just start sprinting if you can. You're going to see it here in this example. Yeah, see if you can, you just want to turn and make sure you're holding jump as well. Alright, then it's the captain's wheel, undefeated. We never really saw an actual attempt at it in Tournament 13, but it is undefeated. So this one, just be aware of where you're going. Be aware of the ledge underneath you and where it's going. Because if not, you're going to be all over the place. You could undershoot it, you could overshoot it. It's going to go 2 over and then 1 up. And then, in my opinion, the hardest part of the obstacle is to jump to the third wheel. So make sure you don't hit yourself on that peg of the second wheel, but make sure you don't bump into the third wheel. So you want to kind of turn out and then immediately turn back in. It's kind of like a wavy, snaky path. And then here on the dismount, that button you see there on the white block, that will give you levitation to transfer into the next obstacle. Here's a first-person perspective of it. As you can see in the top left, it's a little blocked off by the graphic, but there is a countdown for when the wheels start to move, so you have a bit of time to compose yourself and prepare. It does not move as soon as it says begin. It waits a few ticks. But yeah, make sure you crouch when you're landing on ledges, because we all know what happens if you crouch too late, especially if you saw what happened to Paul in 2013. But yeah, if you can do that, then you're good to go, and you're on to the sixth obstacle, which is the silk swing. So if you're going to go through the middle, make sure you're aiming a lot farther forwards than you think, just so you have the time to land on that. You can wrap around the outside of it, but you're not going to see that in this demo video. You can go watch Tournament 12 for that. I believe Wipeout Boy 10 did it on his attempt. So you can go watch that if you need to. But I recommend going through the middle. Personally, in my opinion, it's easier. As long as you can aim correctly, then you're good to go. And just make sure you're getting late jumps as well. Similar to the last one, that button will just give you levitation, so you can transfer onto the undefeated reverse panel. This is the hardest obstacle on the entire course, probably the hardest obstacle in SASUKE craft history. However, it is doable. People have been figuring it out. And so what you want to do is you want to run straight and you want to turn and then get a super late jump. Just make sure you are aligned at that ladder, because if you are not, you will unfortunately slip off and you will fail. As you saw on that first ladder, you can use the extra bit of ladders as momentum. That does make the first one easier. But yeah. And also, do not underestimate its dismount. The dismount is a lot harder than it looks. Alright, the final obstacle, the third stage, is the dragon back, unattempted. Been here since Tournament 9, waiting for an attempt. Hopefully someone can do that here in Tournament 14. This one's similar to the crank dive on stage 2. Be aware of your momentum. It's the same block that you're jumping off. That is the crank dive, so it's pretty similar. Here on the jump to the final cradle, you will have speed, so just be aware of that. On the final jump, you can either force momentum it, as you just saw, or you could simply just run and jump. Now, however, there is a rule that you are not allowed to momentum the final jump, and what that means is you're not allowed to go from the actual track that, as you can see what I'm on right now, you are not allowed to go from that onto the cradle and straight to the final platform. You have to pause on the cradle, basically. Force momenting is what I'm doing right now. That is allowed, but here on the jump to the final cradle, a strategy that I found that is a lot easier is actually going third person. However, it is possible in first person as well. But yeah, on the final jump, here's the running jump strat. But yeah, hopefully someone can reach the final stage. There's no time limit. Alright, well that is it. I'm not going to be showing off the final stage just because no one has made it there in the Reformation era so far. Hopefully someone can get there in Tournament 14. That's the goal. It's kind of why I'm making this video. But yeah, I mean, if you have any other questions about any obstacles, just make sure to hit me up on the Discord server. The link will be in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.